All right, so it's first drive in the Smart, and just so you know, that's a microphone right there. It's windy outside, so I didn't think you could hear me very well, and my wireless mics aren't working great today for whatever reason. But anyway, first drive in the Smart. We're going to take it on the road. This is a slow speed test. We're not going down on the freeway yet. I've owned a Smart in the past. You've heard me talk about it, and there's a few things I want to see, were they able to fix that in this, the third generation of the Smart. The biggest thing for me, by far the thing I have to know, number one, was the transmission. In the first Smart, or the first Smart that came to the US, that would have been generation 2, was horrible. It was like driving with someone who was learning how to drive a standard. It was nauseating, to say the least. There was a power issue that it did not know how to regulate the power. So as it was shifting for you, you constantly were just rocking like you were on a boat. The first 3 days that I owned that car, I had so much motion sickness, I really thought I was going to have to return it. I ended up being able to work through that. I used the paddle shifters. This one doesn't have paddle shifters, but that car had paddle shifters. I was able to learn how to really kind of navigate that power curve so it wasn't as bad. So one, did they fix the transmission in this? Number two, it's a small car, very small wheelbase, and every bump you feel it 4 times as every tire hits it. By the time you hear whatever the car is hitting, like the expansion joints in the road with the front tires, by the time you hear it, the back tires are hitting it, and it's like a bone-jarring experience as you're driving down the road. So, were they able to take care of that? Is this a smoother ride than the original one? And the other one is overall braking. There was some issues in the second generation car. Sometimes it felt like the gas and the brake were fighting each other when you were trying to come to a stop, especially at slower speeds. So I'm wanting to see, were they able to get that resolved? I sure hope so. But we're going to find out. We're going to take this bad boy on its first drive, and let's just see what happens. I'm not going to lie to you, I am very nervous about this. The transmission was such a nightmare. Maybe I'm having PTSD about that. Okay, here we go. We're going to drive down this little section of road right here. Let's give it some gas. Okay, accelerating nice. Oh, that was a shift. Oh, that was a shift. Okay. We've gone 16 miles per hour, and I can already tell you that things are looking up. That was a shift. And I did not break my neck, and I have not thrown up yet. So that actually is a super, super good sign. Let's come up here to this stop sign, give it a little bit of brake. Okay, braking was okay there. That wasn't too bad. Got a kid on a bicycle. He is looking at me thinking, that is the coolest car I've ever seen in my life. I know that's what they're thinking. I have this issue that I always think I'm cool, and so I always think people are looking to give me compliments. It's very seldom correct, but actually it makes life pretty easy for me. Hope you guys can hear me okay on this microphone. Okay, we're going to get out here on a little bit of Main Street. Let's see how this goes. All right, deep breath. Here we go. Let's give this transmission a real run and see how it does. Okay, here we go. 13, 16, 19, 23. I'm jumping 3 at a time. That was 2 shifts right there, and it is shifting great. They did it. Okay. The shifts, they've got the transmission worked out. Super job. Good job, Mercedes. Good job, Smart. Transmission shifts extremely nice. I am super happy with that. Wow, that's so good. That is so good. I'm not going to go through a school zone right now. Let's do a U-turn right here. Let's see how it does on a U-turn. I imagine it's going to do pretty good. We're going to do a parking lot test with it coming up this week and see how it does. Okay, let's turn. Woohoo! We'll give it some gas coming out of here. Let's see how we do. Here we go. Okay, so it's not a turbo. It's not super fast. It's 3 cylinders, so acceleration is not great, but the transmission is smooth. They've got that fine. There's a lot of expansion joints on this road. You can probably hear it. And looking at my phone at the camera, it is vibrating a ton. So you probably think I'm in a paint shaker right now, which I apologize. It looks like it. I'm not. It's actually pretty smooth. It's a small car. It's going to be rough. It's going to have issues, absolutely. But I can tell you right now that it is not as rough as the second generation. They have done a great job. The car overall in stature looks bigger. overall in size, it feels bigger, it feels a little bit heavier. I need to look at the exact stats on that. But as it drives, yes, you feel the bumps, but nothing like you did before. As a matter of fact, my Smart, the issue when I ended up getting rid of it was all the engine mounts had gone out. So the engine mounts had all gone out, and I probably needed to replace some fillings on my teeth. But overall, that was the issues that I was having with it. This car doesn't have that issues. It drives really smooth. Now we're just going down a neighborhood right now. We're going 20 miles per hour. Here's a manhole. Let's see. Didn't even fill it. So they've done a very good job with that. I'm extremely excited on how well they did with the comfort of the ride. Again, it's a small car, so you're going to feel every bump, but it's not abusive. It's not bone shattering like it could have been. I am watching, every once in a while I'm watching the camera, watching you guys, and that thing is shaking violently, so I can't wait to see what that footage looks like. But from here, this is not bad. All right, let's make this turn. We're going to apply some brakes right here. Let's say we want to stop in the shadow right here. Okay. Okay, so the transmission they took care of, the roughness of the ride, I think they took care of. They did a good job with that. But I am finding a little bit of issues with the, let's try it again. Let's stop in this shadow right here. Let's give it a little more brakes. Maybe I needed. Okay. All right, so I'm feeling some similarities between this and what I had before. And here's what it feels like. It feels like when you let off the gas, which should stop the car from accelerating, and you go to apply the brakes, it feels like those two systems are fighting against each other. It's like it still wants to keep going, and then it's like, oh, you're applying the brakes. So I guess we probably should start slowing down. So what it causes, it's almost like a warped rotor, if you have ever driven a car that, where it has a little bit of that. But this isn't the rotors, this is the engine, the transmission, and the brake system all not quite syncing up. Is it terrible? I'm not gonna say it's terrible. But you can definitely tell it's not just a nice, smooth braking system. I wouldn't mark off the car for that. I think it's a little better than what I had before because the transmission was so bad. Like I said on that one, it was so bad. But you do have some issues here where when you go to brake, it doesn't feel, you definitely feel like you're gonna stop, but there's some other action going on. You can feel it. You can feel it in the pedal and you can feel it in the car itself. Okay. Here, let's make a good left-hand turn. We're going to go back. We're over here at a community pool, so we're going to go park it at. Give it a little gas there. It's peppy, yeah. I mean, we're not going to break any speed records, but it accelerates nicely. I don't know what would happen if I had another full-grown adult in here with me, but at the moment, it's driving nice. I'm liking this. This is fun. Okay. This is cool. All right, so they did a good job. Transmission, no problems with the transmission. The other one was so bad you can't help but get better on that. The ride, we're doing low speed, so you're going to feel bumps more, but much smoother ride. Like I'm not having any issues with the ride whatsoever. I'm expecting it to be a little bit rough and a little bumpy. It is, and that's okay. The brakes, it feels like the car's at war with itself just a little bit. You feel totally fine. You're going to stop, but you can feel it. It's just kind of a weird feeling. Okay, so how did they do? They did good. I'm so far extremely happy with this. First drive is great. We're going to talk about size. I'm 6'2". Look at that. I got plenty of headroom, and I'm mainly torso. I got shorter legs. Thanks, Dad. But mainly torso, and I've got plenty of room in here. So the cockpit feels nice and roomy. This is kind of a weird situation going on in here. We'll talk about that more. But when it comes to my first three questions, did they resolve those issues? 2.5. Transmission, yes. The ride of the car, yes. The braking system, better. Not great, but definitely better. So, all right. We're continuing on our week with the Smart car. We are going to take some other people for a ride. We're going to have to go to the grocery store. We're going to do some driving in a parking lot and see how we do as far as cones, how well we can park this bad boy. What's the turning radius? I think it's really tight because I don't know how many times you could turn the steering wheel, but I did a pretty tight turn right there, and it didn't hit lock. So those are going to be interesting. We'll see how that goes, and then we're just going to get some random comments on the street of what people think about this car. So be sure to like, subscribe, join me all week. We're taking this 2017 Smart car on a drive as if it was our daily driver. So wish me luck. Let's talk about cars tomorrow.